In the quiet rivers of Vietnam's Mekong Delta, where the water flows like a lifeline through the land, there's a story that lingers in the shadows. A story whispered by fishermen, passed down through generations, and feared by those who venture too close to the water's edge after dark. They call it Mada, the river ghost, a spirit born of tragedy, bound to the currents, and hungry for company. But what is Mada? A vengeful soul? A trick of the mind? Or something far older, lurking beneath the surface of Vietnam's rivers? Drip, drip. Tonight, we dive into the legend of Mada and the secrets it holds. The show's Tales Radio. They say Mada is born from the water, not just in it, but of it, the spirit of someone who drowned, tragically, suddenly, and without proper rites. In Vietnamese folklore, the dead don't always rest, especially those who perish in rivers. These spirits, they linger, bound to the place of their death, watching, waiting. Mad is one of them, a drowned soul trapped beneath the surface, reaching up with cold hands to drag the living down. You hear the stories from the elders. A boat found drifting empty, nets torn to shreds. No body ever recovered. Parents tell their children, don't go near the river at night, not just to keep them safe, but because they believe the Mada is real, not a fairy tale, a warning. But there's something deeper than fear here, a quiet truth woven into the currents of Vietnam's rivers. That death, when sudden and lonely, can anchor a soul to the world of the living. And sometimes it doesn't want to leave. To understand Mada, we have to understand the rivers. In Vietnam, especially in the Mekong Delta, rivers are everything. They feed the land. They connect the villages. They shape the rhythm of life. But they also take. Floods, storms, and hidden currents have claimed countless lives. Fishermen vanish without a trace. Children slip beneath the surface. Boats overturn in the dark. And when a person drowns, without a proper burial, without incense, without ceremony, their spirit may not find peace. In Vietnamese belief, such a soul becomes a kohan, a wandering ghost, hungry, lost, sometimes angry. The Mada is one such ghost, not just any soul, but one that belongs to the river. It doesn't roam the world. It waits in the water where it died, bound to it, part of it. That's why villagers leave offerings by the shore. Bowls of rice, cups of tea, a stick of incense. Not just tradition, but protection. A way to honor the dead and keep them from returning. In the 1800s, rivers were the only highways. People traveled by sampan, by raft, by canoe, and many, far too many, didn't make it back. Mada became the answer to a haunting question. Why does the river sometimes take, without reason? When grief has no explanation, folklore fills the silence. And so, the river ghosts endure. This story comes from a village in Cano, near one of the quiet, winding branches of the Mekong. It was 1995. A young fisherman named Tuan set out before sunrise. As he always did, the sky was gray. The mist hung low. The river perfectly still. He paddled gently, cast his net, and waited. But something felt off. He couldn't explain it. A weight in the air, a chill that crept into his spine. Then a sound. Splash, splash, soft, rhythmic, like someone swimming. Tuan looked around. Nothing, just fog and water. But he wasn't alone. Beneath the surface, a shape began to move. Pale, slow, coming closer. He stared, frozen. Then a tug, not a fish, not a log. Something deliberate, heavy. His net pulled tighter. The boat tipped slightly. Panic surged through him. He grabbed his paddle, rowed hard, harder. As he reached the bank, he looked back and saw it. A hand, pale, bloated, rising from the water, then slipping back down without a ripple. Tuan never fished that part of the river again. He swore it was Mada, and the villagers, they believed him because they've heard the whispers. They've seen the ripples when no one was there. They know the river remembers. Why does the story of Mada still haunt the Mekong? After all these years? Maybe it's not just about ghosts. Maybe it's about us and what we fear. Water is life, but it's also dangerous, beautiful and deadly. In places like the Mekong Delta, rivers give everything. Food, trade, connection. But they also take a sudden flood, a hidden whirlpool, a child who slips away without a sound. In psychology, we call this anthropomorphism, giving human traits to things we can't explain. So when the river takes someone, we imagine it as a spirit, a will, a ghost with intent. But there's something else. In Vietnamese culture, death without ritual is dangerous. A soul that drowns without a proper farewell becomes restless, a wandering spirit, a kohan, or a mada. That's why families make offerings, burn incense, whisper prayers, hoping the dead will rest. Because if they don't, they might come back, and they might not come alone. Today, the legend of Mada still lingers. In the villages along the Mekong, fishermen still burn incense before setting out, a quiet offering to the river and to whatever might be listening beneath it. Tourists might scoff, just another ghost story. But for those who live by the water, Mada is more than a myth. It's a memory, a warning, a truth whispered by the current. So the next time you're near a river and the water is still, too still, listen. Is that just the wind or something else calling from below? What do you think Mada really is? A ghost? A fear? Or a story that refuses to drown? Let me know in the comments. And sleep well tonight.